we wanted to make you aware of another announcement we've had related to our fundraising efforts and how this one might apply to a big fan expectation or a question for us, probably since I've been in this realm. But anyways, today we're announcing a donation from a new donor, one that we've harvested from the community that has a lot of very similar values and beliefs about how they run their business and how they're growing their business. And with that, today we get to announce that Zappos is joining the ranks of the University of Louisville Athletics donor program, and hopefully this is just the first of many opportunities for us to join together and partner up on projects. But this one is $1.5 million. It's over 5 years. The primary use of these funds will be towards the beloved pink seats and the project that we've announced in the last couple months. We did have to take some time to work through that process to get approvals through the university, whether it be the athletic board as well as the board of trustees. And then from that, and parallel to this, I would say we also had PNC participate. That we worked with them to get a term loan over a longer period of time for $1.75 million that would be used as the backstop to fund this, and then the funds that come in from the Zappos agreement would be primarily used to relieve that debt obligation. So we kind of partnered up here with PNC as well, but Zappos was the primary player in this one, and we were excited when we started thinking about the project, how we could get it done, and obviously where the funds would come from to take the seats from pink to red. I know that fans would love them to have all be red tomorrow. It's as you can see, and you've heard a little bit about the process, it's a labor-intensive process as well, to get through and to water blast them and sand them and then fire them up with heat and then coat them. It is a very labor-intensive process. So we'll work through it. You can see they're starting to get to the sections, and as they ramp up labor, we'll work through that. But it's going to be through the season. We could have waited till next year to try to jump on this one, but it seemed like it was a project that we want to get done now. We'd love to have one more thing to do in the stadium that I think that Coach Satterfield was excited about the project, and then it made it a heck of a lot easier when Zappos agreed to join us and become our field suite sponsor effective immediately. So we were able to work very quickly over the summer to put a bow on this project and put a bow on welcoming Zappos to U of L Athletics. Justin Brown is here today on behalf of Zappos. He's their Senior Director of Louisville Operations, and as most know, Zappos is continuing to grow in the community, and is at a point now where I think they're willing to be more involved. As they grow, they're going to grow their involvement in the community, and we're fortunate to be one of those benefactors of that involvement at U of L Athletics, and I know Justin can speak to some of that, but again, we're happy to have him here, happy to be able to announce this. We've announced a number of gifts over the last year that have been significant to our plans and what we're trying to do, whether it be related to deferred maintenance in our facilities or growth in our facilities. And in this one, I'd say it's refurbishment more than anything else than I would say replacement. As we noted, the seats in the stadium will go to red, and then the back. What's involved with the other piece of this on the debt that I mentioned with PNC is we're replacing the seats in both the softball and the baseball stadium. Those seats match up with what we have in the football stadium. They're not made anymore. Those bucket seats are used as replacements. So when you do have wear and tear or some break, we'll bring those over, and we'll have some backstop, because that style is not one that's still made. So that gives us a little bit of insurance over the next few years as we have these seats still in the football stadium, and then we'll have some terrific seats for the baseball and softball that look more like a traditional baseball softball seat that's got slack backs and bottoms, flip down seats that look like you're more at a baseball stadium than having the bucket seats that we're more accustomed to. But with that, I'd like to introduce Justin Brown, have him come say a few words, and then we'll be open to questions following Justin's comments. Justin?
Thanks, Vince. I'm going to be lame and use my guide here. My PR doesn't tend to let me go off the cuff if I get in trouble. Feels good to finally talk about this one out loud. This is one of those things that we've been working on since mid-April with Vince's team. So there's been a little Cardinals fan screaming inside me for the last 5 months. when we decided to move our ops team to Louisville, one of my first goals was to find a way to immediately show that we are committed to our culture, our new community, and customer service. And what better way to do that than contributing directly to the comfort of U of L fans as they cheer on their cards. I remember games when I was a young guy. I would sit with my dad on the hot metal bleachers at old Cardinal Stadium, and then I had the excitement of transitioning to those red seats at the new Cardinal Stadium, mostly just because they had backs. That was very revolutionary for me. I hope I didn't take it for granted. But hopefully this change is as memorable for our young fan base as it was for me during that transition. Lastly, just want to say thanks to Vince for letting us be a part of the team that's turning the page to this new chapter for U of L. Thank you.
And you'll know when you're out on the field that you will see the Zappos logos have already been put in place on both ends of the field suites. Tim?
Vince, two-part question. What's the timetable to get all the seats painted, and will fans end up with paint on their clothes as you do this gradually?
Yeah, timetable is a tough one because it is. We've met with the contractor and talked about ramping up labor and how you can do that. We knew that we were going to run through September to begin with. I think it's a question of how far we probably get into October. We have a bye week the end of September, that weekend when St. X Trinity plays, and that's the time where they don't utilize the whole stadium. So that's where we'll try to get down the sidelines will be the goal, and then what's left over in the end zone, the south end zone, is where we'll focus on that during the bye week when we're gone. And even during the St. X Trinity game, we will likely partition that off where we will not allow fans in that area and continue to work on it around the clock. It dries almost immediately when you're doing it. And I mean, this, if you were to see the process, it adheres incredibly well. I mean, so well that we have to be careful when we drape the concrete, because drip stains on the concrete will likely be there long after we're here on Earth, as we've now found. But I think that the process, they're at probably 3,000 psi with water, so they're pressure washing it. It cleans out the pores, if you will, the ethylene in the plastic, and when it opens that up and cleans them out, it brings back a little bit of life. But then they sand them down. When you blowtorch them, literally to heat them up, that's when they immediately turn red, because it opens up the pores in the plastic and they immediately change the color. What you see on the last step is really a coating and a paint that's used, as we've mentioned before, been used on cannons and guns, on warships. But it's right away, as we've witnessed ourselves. We tested it last fall, as probably most saw. It ran through after the season, we ran through the winter. We had sections that were done, but it dries right away. We're not concerned about this bleeding onto clothes or pants or things like that.
How much of a factor was the decision to go with the restoration as opposed to replacement of attracting sponsors?
It wasn't. That decision had already been made. We had learned about the process. We knew what the cost was, rough estimate to replace the seats, and then we started looking at this process and getting an estimate on what it was going to cost. Admittedly, we probably had a lower estimate at the beginning, because it is a new process, and we weren't sure how much of the polyethylene or the ethylene in the chairs was going to soak up the coating. And that's the thing that, in the end, we felt it was more comfortable to go with a greater amount, so we ordered more gallons, if you will, and the price went up with that. But that was not the issue. We were working in parallel with Zappos. I think Justin could tell you, I think we were looking for opportunities that may fit best. I think, as you can hear, it resonated with him personally, and this was an opportunity where Zappos is frankly going to be remembered for the switching of the seats from pink to red.
Vince, what is the timetable on softball and baseball? Will it be done before next season?
Yes. Yeah. If you went to softball, there's some seats already missing. So it was one of the things when I learned at the stadium expansion project, when I noticed there was some cracking and chipping in some of the chairs. I asked about our backstop on, where we get our extras, and I was told we don't have many extras. So that the thought on this was, we had the extras. They were on campus. They weren't in a warehouse by the manufacturer. So that was the idea, is we can go get this. If we're creative about it, we'll use those as our backstop on the extras and then replace those seats, because the magnitude of dollars for those, call it between the two stadiums, is probably in the 525, 550,000, if I can remember the quote exactly, is in that range. And yes, they'll be ready next season.
Vince, this is characterized as a donation. There's obviously quid pro quo involved. They get some logos on the stadium. Is there a reason for that? Is it a tax issue or some other purpose behind that?
No, I think that's the way, most of the naming rights donations, if you will, have been done over the years and are done in most places where there is a sponsorship aspect that comes with it. So, that was a notion that where would we put a name? We tried to bring the idea to Zappos of what we thought would be right, and this was one that we thought the field suites are a neat, cool area. We did not have a name for them when we opened last year, and it seemed like this was a good fit for them, and as it to back into it, to Tom's question, it dollar-wise, I think at their level of support, it ironically fit nicely with what we're trying to do with the seats, and then the back and forth worked out well.
Vince, as you mentioned, this continues a trend of donations coming to the athletic department. How would you describe the momentum as far as fundraising goes?
Well, I think outstanding. It was a record year last year. I think we were up 11 million over the prior year, based upon what's been presented at the foundation meetings, and we would expect and hope that it's going to be a record year again this year. I think the support's been great, as we have from our corporate partners, and we have some other things in the pipeline that I would hope to come to fruition, and if that's the case, I think we'll have a record year over last year.